Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Small Town Tourist Podcast, where we experience and explore everything that makes small towns great. I'm your host, Abby, and today we are heading to my hometown of Long Prairie, Minnesota. We are talking with Heidi from the Minnesota Paranormal Research Society about a really cool event they have coming up on Halloween at a historic home in Long Prairie. It's the Christie home, located right on Main Street. I am all too familiar with this neck of the woods. I saw something on Facebook that caught my eye, which prompted me to reach out to Heidi. There was a paranormal investigation that happened at the Christie home at the end of September this year, and they had some pretty compelling research come from this investigation, and we are going to dive deeper into that. We're going to get into Heidi's background with the group, as well as her job and her business that she runs down in St. Louis Park. So I'm so excited to have Heidi on the podcast this week and talk all about the Christie home in Long Prairie, Minnesota. Please enjoy. Okay, well, we will get started then. Like I said, you give your name, where you're from, and what you do.
Hi, my name is Heidi Steffens, and I am the organizer of Minnesota Paranormal Research Society. I also own a business called My Spirit Experience, which is based out of St. Louis Park, Minnesota.
I am so excited to be talking to you, Heidi. We have a lot to get into. I am fascinated by this entire world of paranormal and spirits. And the big thing we're going to be talking about today is an event you have coming up in my hometown of Long Prairie, which is at the Christie home. So let's start out by talking about the Minnesota Paranormal Research Society. How did that get started?
So that was started back in 2008, and it was a few people. There was a founder that started it. A few people joined. I was one of them that joined in the very beginning, and it has grown from there. And the original founder has moved on, but I took over probably about 9 years ago, and we just celebrated our 15-year anniversary. And it's an open group through meetup.com. So the cool part about this, which is unusual for paranormal groups, is that anybody can join. It is not limited. So over the years, we've had over 2,400 people come through our group and be somewhat active to very active, depending on their wants and needs. So that's what's so fun about it, is we get to meet a lot of people. We get to teach paranormal to anybody that's interested, and it's an open group. So it is really Minnesota Paranormal Research Society.
That's so cool. So what exactly do you guys do? Do you have like a schedule of places that you hop around to? Do you kind of field questions from people and go where people are interested? How does that work?
Yeah, all of it, actually. We have a meetup every month that anybody can come to. It's in St. Louis Park, and so we talk about all things paranormal. And it's a place where people can, even if they're part of another paranormal group, they can come to this and meet like-minded people. We can talk about locations that are interesting to go to. We can talk about people's experiences. It's really a safe place for people to talk about things that they may not be able to talk about with people in their lives. So we talk about all things paranormal. So it's really a fun monthly meeting. We've been doing it for 15 years. And we do paranormal investigations. So there's paranormal classes, there's investigations, there's events. Because it's such a large group, we don't typically advertise and do small individual home investigations that we post on there, because we'll have 150 people sign up to want to go, and you can't do that with a small investigation. So we'll post more of the events and classes through the website. And then as people become really active, they really want to be a part of it. We reach out to them and say, hey, do you want to be a part of this small team investigation? And it gives them an opportunity to get some real hands-on experience.
That is so cool. I love that you guys are providing kind of like a safe space for this, because I know this topic can be really touchy, especially if you get out into more rural communities where it is more like faith focused. The whole town centers around a bar and a church. People don't always openly share the stories, or if they have stories, they don't know where to go to share the stories. So it's cool that you guys are providing that outlet for them.
Yep, exactly. I mean, there's so many times, I can't even count how many times we've helped people that didn't have anywhere else to turn, and things were happening that they couldn't understand. And sometimes we've worked with churches too to help out the families or the businesses, they've asked, us to be called into these locations to help partner with them to figure out what's going on.
So what is I know you said you've been in since the beginning. What's kind of your role right now? What do you specifically do with the group?
I run the Minnesota Paranormal Research Society, so I'm organizing all of the events. I do have people helping me out. I could not do this, especially for 15 years, without people helping me, so I'm very grateful for that. But it's really setting up events, coordinating, where we're doing whatever we're doing, making sure that people have resources to, if they need help with anything. So it's really just organizing a lot of the events, planning, how often we should do things, and giving people an opportunity to sign up for things. So it's really just the organizing and coordinating. And then when we're actually doing the event, I'll be leading the event and pulling together a team that can help. Like some of these events that we've run, we just had a class last night. So we'll break it down into smaller teams. And so I have people that have investigated with me for years that I'll ask, hey, do you want to lead a team? And so it's organizing the people that are helping run these events as well. And then we do it. I mean, I'm not just sitting back and organizing, I'm in it investigating along with everybody else.
That's awesome. So what does an investigation typically look like for your group?
Well, it depends on the size of the location and what type of investigation it is. So we've had investigations where you don't have to have any experience, and we are very, hands-on, right with you. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to have any experience, and we're going to walk you through it, and it's going to be really safe. We do investigations like that where, there might be more people than I would typically want for a smaller location. We'll open it up to, 15, 20, 30 people. And then we'll break down into small groups too, because it's more fun, and usually we get more evidence that way. If you have smaller groups or you have more things usually happen, we'll, be contacted by an owner or a homeowner or a business owner, and we'll set up the who, what, where, depending on the size of the location. We'll set a time and date. We'll go investigate. And then it's evidence review, which can take weeks, sometimes, depending on how many pieces of equipment that we're using during the investigation. And then we follow up with the business owner or the homeowner and show them what we got and say, what do you want us to do? I mean, that's one of the primary objectives when we get a contact from anybody, is say, well, what's your goal? Do you just want proof that something's going on and you really like what's happening here? Or do you not want this to continue and you want this to stop? What do you want from us? And so that's the main thing in paranormal investigating, is finding out first what the homeowner wants. But then if we find during the investigation that there is something paranormal happening, because it's not always the case, even if there's uncertainty or strange things happening, it doesn't always mean it's paranormal. But if it is, and we find that we can contact or be in touch with whoever it might be, we have to find out what they want too, because this isn't just about what the humans want. If the human is happy with their haunting, and there's a spirit there that's struggling or suffering because they're stuck there, that's not okay. So we need to make sure it's good for both sides. And so that's our main goal going anywhere, whether it's a large location, small location, it doesn't matter. We want to make sure that it's good for everybody.
That's awesome. I love that you guys are doing the follow-up work on that too, because it is a huge part of it. I'm an avid watcher of Ghost Adventures.
Okay.
And they make it seem like everything happens in like 24 to 48 hours. I'm well aware that's fabricated for TV. There's a lot more work that goes into it. And I love to hear that you guys are going, okay, well, we're going to try to help not only the living, but also those that have passed on. We want to make sure we're doing what's best for everyone.
Yep. Yeah, because it can't be one-sided. It's not fair and it's not right. It's not. Paranormal investigating is because we want to know, we'd like more information. We're trying to figure this out, like what's next, right? But my idea and my team, when we do this, we're not there to use someone's suffering as a form of entertainment or study for ourselves. That's not it at all. We would never do that. So if we come across any being that is suffering or struggling or confused and needs help, we will help them as best we can. And if we can't, we will find someone that can, because we're not about getting our entertainment through someone else's struggle or suffering. It's not okay.
It's an energetic exchange, and you want to make sure that you're putting good out into the world and good will come back to you.
Yep, exactly.
So I'm on your website right now and I'm seeing some really cool and creepy pictures. Do you have a favorite investigation that you've ever done?
Oh boy. We've investigated for 15 years. So I don't know.
Kind of a loaded question.
That might be a tough question. Between what I do with my my work and paranormal investigating, I don't know. I'm so grateful that I can do this full time as well. This is my job. So, I mean, I don't know that I could pick a favorite. Watching people have experiences their first time investigating and really being amazed, that for me is the biggest win, is having an experience that can be validated and then seeing something go all the way to completion where they get to see that someone on this side of the veil is happy and things are taken care of, but also those on the other side of the veil, they get to move on too. And if people can actually witness that or understand that this is happening, that's such a huge win for me. I love that. That's the best part.
Well, what a cool world to introduce new people to. And the fact that you've got to do it for over a decade now, it just must be so rewarding.
Yep, it is. And like I said, I do this for my job as well. I work in the spiritual realm and I'm super grateful.
So I'm fascinated by all things paranormal, spiritual. Tell me more about what you do as your day job as well.
My business is called My Spirit Experience, and I work with people all day, every day. Again, it's more in the, I'll say, spiritual side of things where my investigating side is more of the paranormal. So if I can find a way to divide it up, I would do it that way. So this is more where I'm doing spiritual consultations, intuitive readings, Reiki energy work, healing work. I run women's circles. I teach a lot of classes on intuition and healing. So it's really, there's like two sides to what I do, and I would break it up that way, where my business is much more of the spiritual and healing, and then the paranormal is really where it's the investigative side. So it's a cool balance too, which I love.
How did you get into that spiritual healing side?
I have been intuitive my whole life, and I grew up being able to see, hear, feel beings, spirits, things that a lot of people couldn't. And it was really scary for me. So as I got older into my 20s, I realized this isn't going away. It's getting harder to figure out and manage. I've got to figure out what I'm supposed to do with this. So through quite a bit of exploration and study, this is before the internet. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but I started learning about, that this kind of stuff can be normal for people. And as I got older, I was able to expand and start meeting people, taking classes, things like that. So once I got into my 30s, I was actually starting to work with it instead of fear it. And so I've been doing that for about 20 years now, and it turned into something that I was able to do full time again. Basically, I'm doing what I would have wanted help with when I was younger. I'm that person that I would have wanted to go to and say, it's okay. You're okay. Let's figure this out. I'll help you figure this out so that you can feel grounded, normal, safe, and maybe explore it when you're ready. And so that I love doing is kind of being that person that I wish I would have had when I was growing up.
That is such a wonderful full circle moment to look yourself in the eye in the mirror and go, I am what I needed when I was growing up, and I can be that for other people. That is absolutely incredible. I am so proud of you for that. It feels weird being a stranger and telling someone that I'm proud of them, but I'm proud of you for doing that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm very grateful.
I mean, there are people struggling out there that might be seeing, hearing, feeling things and just not knowing where to turn.
Right. Yeah. And it's not always spirit. I mean, sometimes it's just energies. People feel things from other people. They feel things from places. And everything is energy. And sometimes there's a lot of energy, and people can be more sensitive than others, and they don't know what to do with it. So it can be really scary or bring about some uncertainty that people just, they don't know where to turn. And there aren't a lot of places sometimes to turn, or you don't know who you can trust. You look up on the internet, intuitive services or whatever, and you don't know. You're looking at who knows how many pages come up on the internet of possible resources, and then who do you trust?
Yeah, and now TikTok is a huge part of that. I'm chronically on TikTok. I am full on addicted to it. And lately I've been on the side of like tarot card readings. And they're like, "Oh, we're reading for the collective energy." And I get sucked into it. And I'm like, I don't know if these people are like just faking it for the attention. Do they actually have good intentions behind it? I don't know, but I'm sitting here consuming it, and that's probably not too good for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you just have to, hopefully trust your instincts. If it feels okay, it seems right, that it's probably okay, because there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of great people that do this and really have honest, trustworthy intentions. But there are some things out there that are just not good. They're just, I don't know. I don't want to take anything down, but there's just stuff out there that is not okay. And so you just have to do your best to navigate the waters. It's always good when you can ask for referrals from people that have done this with someone and they had a really good experience, that that you can take their advice and maybe visit that person, and sometimes you just have to try it and see what happens. And if it doesn't feel right, it's not sitting well with you, then just let it go. Don't worry about it. And it's all good. So yeah, it's just like anything, it's like going and buying a car or a house or whatever. You do the best you can. And, if you have questions, you hope that you can find someone that you can ask for some good advice.
Yeah, for sure. I worked closely with a medium. I was a radio DJ for years in St. Cloud, and we had medium Michelle on, and I just had such a great connection with her. And yeah, it's all about building that trust and that connection. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it is what it is.
Yep. You know what? There's someone out there for everybody. So yeah, if you're not vibing with someone, there's someone else out there for you that it's probably going to be great to work with, and it's all good. So yeah, you just have to trust and go with it.
It's just a matter of finding that right person. What advice would you have for someone who might be seeking some sort of spiritual healing help? What's the best route to go to start looking for a person other than just, going to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, find friends that you're comfortable talking to this about. I mean, not everybody's comfortable talking with, just anybody, but if you have a couple of close friends and just say, "Hey, here's where I'm at. Have you ever done anything like this? Have you heard about anything?" Because word of mouth, again, when people go to someone that's reputable, they're going to want to share that information with someone. So if someone is really struggling, it's always best to ask for help. Just start talking to someone you trust and ask them, "Do you know? Do you have any advice? Can you point me in some kind of direction?" And if they don't know, they're probably going to know someone that knows. "Oh, my friend's really into this. Let me ask her, him, or whoever." And so that's the best thing that I could say is just don't be silent. Don't wait. And eventually, the internet's only going to help you so much. You've got to actually get with a person. That's the best thing, because someone that you can ask questions, they can answer your questions. It's personal to you, that they're going to be able to walk with you on your journey that's tailored to you. It's the best thing you can do.
Real human connection.
Yep. That will always be a good thing.
Yes, for sure. So the big reason that I wanted to talk to you guys today is the Christie home investigation that you guys have coming up on Halloween. I found out about this because pictures were shared from an investigation that you guys did back in September. Were you on that one?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That was just a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome.
Walk me through that. Let's start at the very beginning. How did you guys hear about going to the Christie home in Long Prairie?
So we were approached by the Christie Home Board last year. They asked us if we would help them start to bring paranormal into their museum, because they're looking for another avenue for fundraising, as are a lot of nonprofits. They have had experiences in their home that they consider paranormal, and they thought this might be an interesting avenue to start exploring, building up some more revenue for fundraising. And they asked us if we'd help, and they wanted to do it in a way that would not create a spectacle. This is something that, they take their work very seriously at the home. This is a beautiful location, and they don't want to turn it into a 3-ring circus. So we said that we'd be happy to help them. will do it however makes sense for them, whatever feels right for them. And so we've been working for a year on this project. And last year we did do an investigation because they said, if you're going to do this, you need to see if it's actually haunted or not. So we want you to come visit. And so last year on October 30th, we did an investigation. And not only is the home beautiful, we had some pretty interesting things happen that we thought, you know what, there's something here. There's something going on. And this would be a very cool place for people to try investigating for the first time or come if they're seasoned investigators. So that was last year. This year, we've started planning a few events to, just get the ball rolling. Nothing really big at this point with, lots of events. We're just doing a couple of really cool events this year. The first one was the paranormal investigation in September. And again, it's a fundraiser. So we opened it up to quite a few people. I think we had about almost 20 people there. And it was some of the folks there, it was their first time investigating. But again, that's my jam, right? Getting first timers out and in a safe way exploring the paranormal. So we broke down into 3 teams. They had a history tour at the beginning of the event just to get the lay of the land, some knowledge about the Christie house and to tour the beautiful home. And then we broke down into some small groups and we did our paranormal investigation. And it was loads of fun. I mean, it was interesting too. I mean, people were really, taking this in and thinking, wow, this is a thing. This is happening. And then of course there's evidence review afterwards. And that's where we start seeing even more than we realized was happening during the event, is where you start to see, our equipment actually captured a few other things that we didn't know were happening.
What kind of equipment do you guys have on hand when you're doing these investigations?
Typically, we are using different meters that measure electromagnetic fields. We have voice recorders, camcorders, night vision cameras, and also trigger items. And trigger items are something that, pretty much anybody would want to touch or play with or whatever, and it usually lights up. Or if it's something that would, get them interested or near a piece of equipment that lights up, like if you put out chocolate or something like that, that would be my trigger item. I'd go for the chocolate and light up a piece of equipment next to it. That would be what gets me. But we want to put a lot of things out to see what might they want to interact with, if they even want to interact with us. Now, again, we can't force spirit. I know that, again, there's some shows that want to go out and force spirit to try and interact. That's not how we roll. We're just like, hey, if you want to talk to us, that's great. We're not going to bully anybody into doing it because I wouldn't like that myself.
Yeah, there's a couple times I'll be watching shows and I'm like, this is just yelling at ghosts. Like, this is not helpful.
Well, and if you make anybody mad enough, eventually they're going to respond.
Right.
But I don't want to be on the receiving end of someone that doesn't ever have to sleep, So
nope.
That's not okay for me. So yeah, we put out as many pieces of equipment as we feel are necessary to hopefully entice them into interacting or give them the easiest form of interaction. This piece of equipment might be easier to interact with us than this piece of equipment. So we want to put out a variety of different things so that we have the best opportunity of communication.
I'm looking at the picture that you guys posted of the fur coat, side-by-side pictures, same angle, same everything. And it appears that there's like a head poking out from behind the jacket.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
That was fun. That was one of our investigators, Rochelle. She's actually investigated with us quite a few times. And that was a good shot. And she knows if you're going to take pictures, you take 2. This is exactly why. One picture has something, one picture doesn't. You want to see, is it there in every photo, right? If it's there in every photo, it's probably not paranormal. If something is there and 1 second later it's not there, or vice versa, that's interesting. So that actually, where you see the top of the head is where the stairwell comes up to the attic.
Oh.
So at that point, they were hearing footsteps coming up the stairs. And that's why those pictures were taken, is because they heard someone coming up the stairs, except nobody was there.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
Yeah. She showed me those this past weekend and I went, you got it. This is good.
That
looks
so
like the top of a head, which is exactly what you would see if someone was actually walking up those stairs.
Right. Yeah. Just knowing that's a stairwell behind it. Yeah. That's exactly how someone would ascend those stairs. I'm guessing it was a very narrow staircase too, because that old
Yep.
house.
Yep. Narrow and steep. And yep. Just as soon as you start going up a few stairs, if you're already upstairs, you'd see the top of someone's head, and then you'd continue to see them as they climb the rest of the stairs.
Oh, so crazy.
Yeah. That was fun to see that.
What other kind
And
of evidence did you guys get from the investigation?
we're still going through
I
evidence,
suppose it was
but
only a week and a half ago.
yeah, we've had, so there was an audio recording at the same time as that photo was taken, because we also have to debunk, we're not going to just, and that's why I didn't put the photo out right away. I had to make sure that I'm checking with all the teams. Now, my team was out in the carriage house. My team was fully accounted for. It was none of my people, because when you're running a larger investigation, there are people that want to sneak away and sit by themselves or do whatever. I mean, it happens. It's not very often, but it does. So I want to make sure, did any of my people sneak away, right? Because we can't call something haunted that's not haunted. That's not right. So we checked with the other investigator, Amy, her team. Now, this was on Tim's team that they caught the photo, and they were hearing someone coming up the stairs. We checked in with Amy's team, who was down on the first floor, and I said, were all your people accounted for when you were in the main room? Yes, they were. Nobody left. Nope. Not even to go to the bathroom. Nope. Okay, great. And so we told her what was happening and when, and then she was able to go through her evidence. And she said, yeah, we heard there's noises that we acknowledge while we're investigating that were coming from upstairs at that same time. So it's interesting that we have now another audio recording of movement happening upstairs at the same time they're hearing someone coming up the stairs, at the same time that they're getting a photo that looks like the image of a head coming up the stairs.
Wow.
So it's cool when you can layer evidence like that, because it becomes more compelling. You're not just some random blob is turning into a haunted stairwell. We have other evidence that can layer up with this that makes it like, well, this is really hard to explain away at this point. So, and then the activity that was happening while we were investigating, equipment was lighting up that it shouldn't light up for any other reason than something is interacting with it. So we're still going through footage, because we've had a lot of investigations last month and this month. So we're still going through our video footage, our audio footage. We'll get there, but just the personal experiences alone, tons of it while we were there.
Oh, that is so good to hear, because I grew up in Long Prairie. I'm very familiar with the Christie house in that neck of the woods. And I've always gotten kind of a vibe from that place. And now I know my vibes are checking out.
Yep. You were feeling it. And the people that are, that volunteer there and that are on the board, they're all saying, yeah, this place, there's stuff happening that you can't explain. And they think it's fun to share that with other people, which is why we're doing this now.
Well, it's just a great story to get out. So, looking ahead to this event you guys have coming up on Halloween, it's on October 31st. What exactly can people expect from that if they want to get signed up for it?
Okay, so this event is going to be fun. This is not going to be a paranormal investigation. This is a seance. And if you think of the movies, you think of what a seance would be, it's probably pretty close. You're going to be sitting at a big table in the dark, in the Christie house, beautiful Christie house. We're dressing up because it's Halloween. And why wouldn't you dress up? So we're not talking dressing up, like a cartoon character. We're talking dressing up as if you were going to a seance back in the 1900s, early 1900s. So dress your best and get ready to sit at a big table while we call in spirit. And we're going to have I'm going to bring a crystal ball. I'm going to bring some other fun things that I actually use in my business. They will not be props. And we're going to call out spirit and see if they want to communicate with us. Now, my husband, Tim, will be there with me. We will be leading the seance. So instead of investigating where you're relying heavily on equipment, Tim and I will be opening ourselves intuitively to communicate with spirit that way. And so we'll be hopefully giving information and messages of who is there, possibly people that loved ones that have passed on that are coming to the seance. Can't make any promises because I can't promise who's going to show up. But we're going to be doing the seance in a more traditional form where it's using very intuitive information. Now, the cool thing about seances is when I've run them before, people that are attending the seance sometimes have communication directly to them. Not everything has to go through Tim and I. So people have been touched on the shoulder. They've felt a cold breeze right next to their body, or in between two people, they'll say, I feel cold. Oh, I feel cold too. But then nobody else feels cold. So sometimes the spirits will be interacting directly with the people in attendance, which is always kind of fun.
That sounds electric.
It is. It's so fun. And we will actually have a few pieces of equipment set up too, just to give spirit an opportunity to interact with equipment if they think that might be easier than manifesting some other way. So it's kind of fun too when we ask questions, because this has happened. And as we're getting information, pieces of equipment start lighting up, which kind of validates, this is really happening. So it's kind of a double bonus, right, for the seance.
I think this sounds like so much fun. I can't wait.
Yep. And it's a fundraiser, because that's what we need for the Christie House and other places like this. We want these places to stay around forever, and they need to be maintained. So it's a win-win.
That's fantastic. I am all for this kind of thing. If people are wanting to get tickets, where should they go for that?
So you want to go to the Christie House Museum website, and I believe it's christiehome.org, that you'll want to go to their website and buy the tickets through them.
Okay, perfect. And I'll make sure I put links on the show notes for this podcast episode as well, just so it's easy access. But man, if you want to get in on this, I think everyone, if you're itching to, sign up sooner rather than later, because once word gets out, this is going to fill up quick.
It is. And it's already filling up. So because it's been posted for a while, so people are signing up and they're getting into the Halloween spirit, and it's a fun thing to do on Halloween night. There's actually 2 seances, an earlier one and a later one. So depending on your schedule or what's going on, you can make one or the other, and we're going to have a good time.
I am so looking forward to this. I'm literally typing my name in and signing up as we speak.
Perfect.
I am so excited. Heidi, I am so happy that we got to connect over this, and I look forward to connecting more in the future. Let's stay in touch.
Absolutely. This was great fun, Abby. Thank you so much.
Where can people find your group online, your business online, all that good stuff?
So my business is My Spirit Experience, and the website is myspiritexperience.com. And for the paranormal, you can go to minnesotaparanormal.com.
Perfect. Well, Heidi, thank you so much, and I will see you on Halloween.
That sounds great.
Thank you so much for checking out the Small Town Tourist podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed this spooky episode just in time for Halloween. And please consider coming to this event at the Christie home. I got my tickets. I know I'm looking forward to it. We have all the information down in the show notes below. If you're looking for more content from the Small Town Tourist, you can always find me on Instagram at the Small Town Tourist. And you can also check out the blog, thesmalltowntourist.com. If there's something that you would like me to dig deeper into or something cool that you know about in your town, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can always send me an email, Abby, ABBEY, at thesmalltowntourist.com.